We're going to be talking with Lauren Weeks of Blended by Distance.
Hi. Okay. This is my first time doing a live. I have two stepdaughters. I met them when they were 4 and 9, and now they're 9 and 13, almost 14. And then 2 years ago, I had my daughter. So she's now like 2 years and some months. So I say I have a little bit of every like age group. I have a
You do.
toddler, we have a 9-year-old, and we have a teenager. And it's interesting.
Uh-huh.
um,
Uh-huh.
But I met my husband about 4 years ago, and for the first 4 years, I was a long distance stepmom. So that's all I knew. That's everything that I was getting used to. He's in the military, so that's what makes us long distance. And then in the beginning of the year, I turned into a full-time stepmom, literally overnight.
This complete reversal of all of the structure and schedule that you had in place, and now you are relearning what it means to be a stepmom in this role.
Well, right.
So,
And it happens quickly. I know you brought up, and I think one of your stories the other day, how typically when that transition goes from long distance stepmom or not full-time stepmom, but then you go to a full-time stepmom, it's rarely ever like a planned
yeah.
thing. It's typically when something, not planned or essentially traumatic happens. So not only was I just getting used to, after 4 years, being a long distance stepmom and the flow of that and getting comfortable with that, then essentially overnight I felt like a new stepmom literally all over again, because just the whole dynamic of it completely shift.
Oh, I can just imagine. And I think the baseline you were working with, long distance stepmomming, is in its own right a challenging version of showing
Oh
up in
my
this
God.
role.
Like there's so many similarities, but there's so
Mm.
many differences. So I felt like I went from two opposite ends of the spectrum.
Putting myself in your shoes, I bet it was like you got comfortable with looking to certain resources and points of guidance to kind of get your bearings, only to find that now the need for what is going to be supportive for you likely shifted. Stepmom clients and friends who are in a full-time step parenting or primary caregiver situation, they kind of cherry pick from general parenting and step family resources because
Yeah.
is that what
It's
you do as well?
Well, right. It's so funny because so when I started my page, Blended by Distance, the distance,
Yeah.
long distance, and I was like, I've had experience on this. Let me jump into this and help stepmoms that are long distance, because I felt like I couldn't find a lot of resources on that. So it would even be like podcasts I would listen to if they were talking about full-time stepmom. I literally would skip. I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
this isn't to me. Now I'm like, I need to listen to all of them. Crap. Stepmom resources, it's a niche that I feel it is getting bigger, and I love that
Yeah.
it's getting bigger. Could be bigger, but there are specific parts of it. So now I'm like, okay, now what do I do with this niche of it?
There are so many universals, near universals to the
Yeah.
stepmom experience. You can say certain things to any flavor of stepmom, and she's like,
Mhm.
uh-huh, yeah,
I
I
get
get
it.
it. Even
Yeah.
if I'm not living it currently, I get it.
Yeah.
But then there are these niche within
Yeah.
a subcategory
Yeah.
experiences,
Absolutely.
and you have occupied two of them. And so maybe if you're willing, like maybe
Yeah.
we could just back up to the distance, long distance
Yeah.
part of your timeline. Can you share what was maybe particularly challenging about that, and also what you appreciated about that
Yeah.
setup?
No, there's definitely, the first thing that comes to mind is imposter syndrome,
Mm.
even within the stepmom community.
Yeah.
Like, we my husband, he would still see his kids every other weekend, so we were long distance, but every other weekend. But that was him, because he would drive, God, 5 to 6 hours every other weekend, go see his kids, come back. I would do that for a little bit, but then once I got pregnant and stuff, I was not doing that. So when I would look towards resources, or just tell people I was a stepmom, even saying that, I'm like, but am I? Like, I don't even have, I really don't even have every other weekend, because he saw them every other weekend. I was seeing them holidays and some school breaks. So it felt fake. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I feel like I wasn't truly living the stepmom experience. And I had to give myself grace, because that is a stepmom experience in itself, and you're navigating that. One thing I appreciated was that I did feel that separation of being able to have my own rules and routine in my home and not have it
Mm,
interrupted every other weekend or every week. I still feel like I had a hold on my life. You know what I mean?
I do.
Um, yeah. So I did feel lucky in that aspect. But those are probably the two main things with the distance. But it was hard because when I did have the kids, the pressure to be perfect was so intense because I only had them for a short period of time. I feel like I only had short times to bond with them, and I felt like I had to be on point. I felt like I had to be perfect all the time. When they were long distance, he was a different dad with
Yeah.
them than he was with our daughter. And in a sense that I appreciated, because I didn't want my husband to be a Disney dad with our daughter, but then I understood where he was coming from. He still led them and he raised them and he taught them like ethics and stuff like that. But when he was there, he just wanted to purely enjoy his time there. So
Yeah.
I at first would be like, you're being such a Disney dad. But then once I thought about it, I'm like, you have literally 48 hours. Like, you want
It
to
makes
make the best
sense.
out.
What really matters in that scenario is those 48 hours are about being present with his kids.
Right.
So that
Absolutely.
makes total sense to me. But it's very interesting that you also felt that in your role as a stepmom during those 4 years. I could see that for sure.
Yeah. Cause I mean, over the years, we grew relationships. I did have them for the summers when they were long distance. So I loved them. I did.
Mm.
And I didn't have kids going into it. So they were the first form of loving a child that I experienced, you know?
Yeah.
So that was definitely a bond that I was like, wait, this is different. I love them. So now, not only was I felt like my husband parenting from a place of guilt or wanting to be Disney, but I wanted to be too, because again,
Yeah.
just like he had the 48 hours, if I saw them, we only had a week.
Mm.
Can't do some of that heavy lifting stuff. It's just not realistic when you're in a scenario like that, you know? Well, obviously,
Yeah.
throughout when you see them, there's FaceTime, there's phone calls and stuff, and you'll check in and give your words of wisdom and advice. But the reality of it, you're still going to have like rules in your household, but you want to just enjoy your time.
Yeah. Put it into kind of a larger context of what
Yeah.
you're working towards, playing that
Yeah.
long game. Given that we know how much time it can take to form trust and bonds and shared meaning between a step parent and step kids,
Yeah.
it understandably kicks up some worry and fear in stepmoms who are entering into a long distance step parenting dynamic because they wonder, is it even going to be possible for me to form meaningful relationships with the kids, or will that be interrupted if maybe it becomes long distance after
Mm.
it was previously not? What would you say to a stepmom in that
Well,
situation?
that's when you really have to focus. I know you've most likely heard this over the connection over correction.
Yeah.
That's when you really have to focus on it. You can't go into this role thinking you're going to parent alongside your partner, at least not immediately.
Mm,
You can support them and give them advice behind the scenes, but that connection with that child with the little time that you have is going to be most impactful. And then that, no matter if you get long distance or you move or whatever happened, whatever changes in your life, you'll always have that foundation and that bond that once you do have that and they build that trust in you and they see you as a safe, respectful adult, not, they don't need to necessarily see you as a parent initially, then, you know, you can start instilling some advice and what you feel they should do, or just like, you know, help with the parenting and
hmm
get more in that aspect. But you really need to focus on just connecting with them. Whether my, I'm just laughing because my oldest stepdaughter, when I first met her, she was 9. She was on, would watch her shows on YouTube Shorts or whatever. I barely know what that is. I knew that was how she connected. She didn't really like doing
Mm,
anything else. She loved her shows. She loved talking about her shows. That's what made her smile, and that's what really got her going. I would force myself to sit there and watch these dang shows with her. And I'd be, you know, zoning out and going cross-eyed, but she loved it. She was happy, and she's like, wow, she really wants to get to know my interests, and she really wants to spend time with me on things that I like. And I think as in the moment it was slightly torturous for me, I really did enjoy it, and that made the biggest impact on them. I really focused on what their interests were, and even though it's kitty interests and it's the last thing I want to be doing, it's important. And you need to make sure that you do that.
it's so important, especially brand new stepmoms who are entering
Yeah.
into what feels like this wilderness
It's
of
war. It feels like you're entering
uncertainty,
war.
right?
It's terrifying.
Exactly. And they're like, prove it to me that it's possible to connect with this kid because I
Yeah.
don't see it. And obviously, there's all kinds of different factors that can play into that, how free kids feel
Hmm.
to connect with a new person in the family. But all other things being equal, I just love the simple advice. And you just shared that beautifully, I think, that if you can just adopt kind of a beginner's mindset to
Yeah.
getting to know what your stepchild is into. I can relate to that when my two stepsons, they were 3 and 5 when I met them. And I think if you like in a Venn diagram plotted all of our different interests, there
Oh my.
was some overlap between their interests. I don't know. They share DNA, but I those are two very different little people.
Yeah.
And if you mapped my interest in relation to theirs, I think we overlapped on like food and cute animals. And
Yeah.
that's about it. I encourage stepmoms, less is more when you're connecting with kids. Plus, kids are just so intuitive. They can sniff it out when it's maybe a little rehearsed or
Yes.
disingenuous.
Yes, I've definitely, I remember because with my stepdaughters Venn diagrams, they're more similar now, but they were also very different when I first met
Yeah.
them. They did like art and stuff. So I specifically remember I planned a project for us to do on one of our visits, and it was where you have art canvas and you have crayons and you glue them on, and then you take a blow dryer, a hair dryer, and you melt it, right? I don't know if it was a big thing back when I was
Yeah.
and stuff. So I was like, oh, this is going to be an amazing, great bonding experience. I bought all the supplies. They could be less impressed. They did it, but it was like not the reaction I was hoping for, and it broke my own heart. So it's like also
Yeah.
with going into getting to know their interests and doing things with them. You're right. Don't also try too hard in the sense or be perfect at it
Right.
or expect huge bouts of emotion and gratefulness and stuff, just small little bits at a time and it will make a difference.
Absolutely. I did a lot of reflecting back to my own experience as a child. There's all these grown-ups around, and
Yeah.
when you get that little bit of a bite from one of them who kind of is willing to get on your level and actually seems interested, it's irresistible to a lot
Yeah.
of kids.
Yep.
So the good news is you can do that very simply. Just offering them your undivided attention
Yeah.
is sometimes all it takes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's then fast forward to when you were transitioning to your current stepmom setup.
Yes. So I'll do the short version because I could probably talk for hours about this.
Yeah.
So I've been in my stepdaughter's life for about 4, almost 5 years. Within those 4 years living with their other parent, they had moved 3 or 4 different times, 3 different school districts, all because of changes in their parents' relationship status. So there's always been that level of inconsistency. But with my husband being in the military, we felt okay. All their other extended family is there. They're okay. You know, let's like it's okay. They'll get through it. It's not the best situations, constantly moving, but like because he was military, like it wouldn't be any better of a situation. Fast forward to this January, their mom's last previous relationship turned, it was a mess. It was a hot mess. There was concerns for the mom's safety, so then the kids' safety. They were breaking up. It was very hostile. Like my husband literally had to go up one Thursday, like at night, and pick him up and bring him back. It was literally overnight. The kids were told, hey, you're going to go live with dad now. This is what's going on. And it was a mess. We found out everything that was going on. From when we found out what was going on and how serious it was to when they moved here, it was about 5 days that we knew. So not only did my whole role change drastically, now I'm trying to navigate that and how I'm going to deal with my stepchildren that have just experienced trauma and how they're going to navigate it and how they're going to transition here. And it was the hardest for my youngest stepdaughter because
Yeah.
my oldest stepdaughter, she was there when mom and dad were together and married. She was there during the divorce. Like she knew that I was, with mom and then dad would visit. The youngest, all she knew and remembered was I lived with mom full time and dad came and visited. That was it.
Mm.
So it drastically, for the first about 6 months, almost ruined my relationship with my youngest stepdaughter. My oldest stepdaughter, thank goodness, I think it actually brought us closer because since she's been through a lot, I think she was just kind of over it. You know, she had, being here, had more of an ability to make a lot of friends and be more free to hang out with them here. So she's now thriving here because she's at that age where friends start becoming your world, you know?
Yeah.
And she's going to eighth grade this year and then she'll be in high school. So she's thriving here. My youngest, oh my God, the 360 that it did. But on a bright note, they're here right now for the second half of the summer. And she's like my little baby that I always knew. So I don't know what switched, but I'm very grateful for it and I'm not questioning it. But it was to the point where she wouldn't talk to me. I'd be talking to her straight, ignoring me. When dad wasn't in the room, she was just blatantly rude. Just, we would always be very cuddly before. She wouldn't even want to like in for a hug, nothing. And like, I understood it, you know, I
Yeah,
understood, but it still hurt.
of
And
course.
I was like, you know, I get what's happening. I would be traumatized. I probably would be acting the same way. She wants her mom, and here I am. And she's like,
Yeah.
I never got the you're not my mom, thank God. But, you know, the
Mhm.
actions kind of spoke that. We got them both into therapy, so that's definitely helped. But it was, I got into therapy. Oh
Therapy for
boy.
everyone.
I literally beautiful. Love it. Would recommend it for everyone. Yeah, it was a transition that I'm still dealing with. It's only been 7 months.
Yeah, this is very fresh still. And so you are navigating this version
Yeah.
of stepmom summer really
Yeah.
for the first time.
I kind of appreciate it more than summers as a long distance mom because
Yeah.
now I don't feel that pressure to be perfect all the time because they're with us every day. They
You
know
have more time.
we've been at our worst at this point. Like they know I'm not perfect. They've learned that real quick when they moved here full time. But yeah, I don't feel rushed to do things. I
Mhm.
feel more at ease. The only difficult thing is that you know, we still have to work. You know,
Oh yeah, that.
I have to work and there's children at my house. I'm like, oh God. Um, they didn't do camp this year or anything like that just because
Mhm.
the schedule of when they were going to be at their mom's changed like last second. And it was
Yeah.
like, it's this whole thing. But being at work and being like, okay, are they not just at home on their computers? Are they eating? Oh my God, kids don't
Mhm.
eat if you're not there to tell them to eat. I learned that real quick. Um, I just got home today. My oldest, she's on her computer on her video games. Did you eat today? She goes, I was like,
No.
and then, you know, you also just don't want them to be stuck in the house. So I
Yeah.
am lucky I have a job where sometimes I can get home early or dad can and like, you know, try
Mm.
and plan things for after work so they're not just staring at a screen all day. So that's been an obstacle that I've been coming across that I've never had to experience before.
Yeah.
But it's been okay.
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
definitely think next summer, my youngest, we're putting her in a camp. She has to. She needs to do
Yep.
something.
Something that came up in my conversation with Brittany the other day on the first one of these chats, because she brings so many different kinds of lenses, you know, the adoptive, the bio, and the stepmom
Yeah,
perspective. She was really making the point that each summer is going to be its own thing. It will change. The kids' developmental phases are going to be
yeah,
different. You will be different. You and your partner.
exactly. I don't think there's been one summer that I've been in their lives that has been consistent
Yeah.
at all. Because they're, again,
Yeah.
you're right, their needs change, their ages change, their wants change. So definitely.
Outside of everything that you have in place to support the kids, what has been helpful to you? And that could be like some kind of a practical tool, that could be a mindset shift, a way that you're approaching your role with the kids, given your current situation. What has been helping you out?
Going from long distance to full time. When I was long distance, I definitely had a lot more time for myself. Even though I had a baby, that's a different topic because she was a toddler, all that stuff. But I definitely had more time to carve for myself. When my stepdaughters first moved here, I definitely fell into the trap of wanting to try and do it all because I was still in that mindset of being the long distance stepmom. I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to, even though I knew we had longer time, it was just like that innate action in me because that's what I had been doing for so long. So I definitely had to get comfortable with being okay with taking a step back delegating things to my partner that he would do for our child. I felt myself doing more for my stepchildren than I was doing for my daughter.
Hmm.
Um, because I guess hindsight, I felt like, well, she knows I'm mom. She knows I'm always here. And now
Right.
I guess it was also from a place of guilt. They're here due to a traumatic experience and their whole world got flipped upside down. So I definitely was compensating for that for them on that end. And once I got burnt out, because that happened maybe like 4 months into it, I had
Yeah.
to really take a step back and be like, they're okay.
Hmm.
Because just like nuclear families are not going to be perfect all the time. The
Right.
kids are okay with that. They see you're imperfect and they still care for you. They're not going to hopefully, go
Hmm.
back and spill all your dirty laundry. And that was also another big fear
Sure.
because I thought that maybe with them being here with me full time, I would have more say and feel like I had more control. It was the complete opposite because now I felt that, okay, this other woman's kids are in my home and now she's
Yeah.
gonna expect me to parent the way that she does, or maybe she's not gonna like my parenting, or she's gonna have something to say, or if they just tell her about their day and something comes up that she's tweaked on, like it was, I felt way less control.
Yeah.
Bottom line, to get to your point, I
Mm.
just really had to focus on taking a step back and being okay with that, and the time that I made for myself, not feeling bad or guilty about it. And any mom, whether you're
Amen.
step or a regular mom, you're gonna feel that. But like me personally, the gym is my time. The gym is
Mhm.
my time. Doing this is my time. It's just
I'm
talking
honored.
and being in a
Yeah.
quiet place. Even though I low key hear my toddler losing her crap downstairs. But that would be the biggest thing. You just have to find any time for yourself. Or sometimes after the baby goes down, I sit on the porch and just sit in the sun and just be in the
Mhm.
quiet, just something. Even if it's a 20-minute reset, you have to be able to catch yourself when you're about to spiral.
I think that's such wise advice. And the part of the power of it is that that is all very doable. Like those tend to be the kind of choices we can make with our time and energy that don't cost a whole lot or are completely
Yes.
free. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it sounds like for you, the magic has been in the intentionality. Like this
Yeah.
matters. And so I'm doing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely some days it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Some days you do catch yourself in that spiral, but when you do it more and more, you get used to catching yourself before that happens and just taking a moment.
I mean, that's as good a place to pause here as
I
any.
agree.
So, thank you so much, Lauren. For anyone who is watching the replay and wants to connect with you and get more of you, where can
Yes.
we send them?
So I'm mostly on TikTok. I do have an Instagram. TikTok likes me better. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is. I haven't figured out the algorithm or the ways of Instagram yet, but both is blended by distance. You come find me there, and I am a certified step family coach, but that ended right when my stepchildren moved in. So that had to be put on a hold for a second, but that is a goal. So hopefully I get to do that soon enough.
I hope so too. We will stay tuned and I will put all of Lauren's info so you'll be able to connect with her easily there. But thank you
Perfect.
again, Lauren. I really
Yes.
appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.